Welcome to Home Library Book Review Children Series, where we select a book right from the shelf and explain its content through easy to understand text, graphics, examples, and animations, along with discussion with family members. I am joined with my son Arnav to review Geronimo Stilton's The Haunted Castle by Elizabetha Dami.
Hey everyone! This book is the 46th book in the Geronimo Stilton series. It is intended for age group 6 to 12 years. It is an interesting adventure and has Goodreads rating of more than 4.
In case you've missed to watch our earlier book review of Geronimo Stilton, Magical Mission, and the Super Chef Contest, the links are right in the description.
So don't forget to watch it and do subscribe. So let's begin with the main characters of the book. Geronimo Stilton, his cousin Crab Stilton, his sister Thea Stilton, and his nephew Benjamin Stilton.
One morning, Geronimo receives a call from his uncle Samuel to invite him, Trap, Thea, and Benjamin to Penny Pincher Castle for some ceremony. It was all so strange, as the relationship between Stilton family and Stingy Snout family was strained, since they are stingy, which means placing too much importance on money and not wanting to spend it. Both the families only see each other during family ceremonies like weddings and funerals. All four of them started their journey. By late evening, they passed the Valley of Lac, where there is very little water, very little light, few birds in sky. Even the inhabitants of the valley are scarce. As they drove, the weather grew worse. The sky turned black and threatened to storm. A freezing wind whipped up. Then it began to pour. They continued to the highest peak of the mountain, where Penny Pitcher Castle was located. Upon reaching the castle, they knocked the great door, and Uncle Samuel appeared. He was crying so hard that tears were dripping down his snout like a fountain. He said, "Uncle Bigwig Stingy Snout has left us. He passed away." The Stilton family was clueless who Uncle Bigwig was. Uncle Samuel guided them to a dark hallway. Drops of water were falling from the ceiling. The floors were full of holes and the walls were moldy. Uncle Bigwig was the heir to all Stingy Snout property. Even this castle belonged to him. Geronimo found this strange, as none of them had heard of Uncle Bigwig. Finally, they arrived in the enormous banquet hall, where all relatives were gathered. Tell us more, Arnav.
Okay, Mom. Uncle Samuel announced that it is now time for Bigwig's lawyer to read the will. The lawyer read out, "I, Bigwig Stingy Snout, leave all that I own to Uncle Samuel." Geronimo chatted with other Stiltons and Stingy Snout relatives. He noticed that none of them seemed to know Uncle Bigwig, and the only one knew him was Uncle Samuel. This was very strange. Uncle Samuel led everyone to the next room where a coffin sat in the center of the room. Geronimo went near the coffin and purposely tripped and bumped into it to discover. It was so light and it seemed empty. He extended his paw to see why it was so light, and Uncle Samuel yelled, "Stop! What are you doing? Uncle Bigwig left us because of a very contagious disease, acute ratitis, so don't touch it." Geronimo had never heard of this disease, and all was so strange for him. It was too late for burial now, so they will bury Uncle Bigwig tomorrow morning. Uncle Samuel accompanied Thea, Trap, and Benjamin to their rooms, and then he led Geronimo to a dark door, murmuring room for him, and told him that this was Uncle Bigwig's old room.
Thank you, Arnav. Geronimo had mouse bumps because he wasn't dark, as Uncle Samuel took candle with him. It was terribly cold. He kept hearing creepy noises. The windows creaked, glass was broken, and it was so drafty. The curtains blew around and looked like ghosts. He decided to go down in the kitchen and make some hot tea. He tiptoed down the creaky staircase. As he arrived in the kitchen, he could see a monstrous shadow on the wall. He cried, "Who is it?" And from behind the corner popped Thea, Trap, and Benjamin. Geronimo decided to confide in his family and told them how strange he felt about everything, and the coffin felt so light. Thea suggested to check the coffin out, and Geronimo shuddered at the thought. They all went to the room and lifted the coffin cover. "And what? It's empty!" they cried out. At that moment, Geronimo glimpsed a shadow. By this time, his nerves were totally shattered. The shadow was as quick as lightning, and it started running. But Trap grabbed it by the tail. Geronimo lit a candle to find out it was Uncle Samuel. Uncle Samuel said, "Forgive me, I have a little explaining to do." By this time, one by one, other family members began trickling into the room. Uncle Samuel said, a few weeks ago, he found an ancient scroll in one of the drawers in the Great Hall, which said to share the castle with all the Stingy Snouts and Stiltons. He sobbed and said, "I am old and I have lived my whole life in this castle. This is my home and I am very attached to these walls. I was afraid of losing my home, so I made up the story of Uncle Bigwig. It was all fake. No one has died. Please forgive me," he pleaded. After some discussions, Trap announced the entire family has decided to forgive him, but he needs to restore the castle and invite all of them to spend the vacations here and pay for their room and board. Uncle Samuel fainted. In the coming week, Geronimo's uncle Gagrit Stilton and Uncle Samuel's younger sister Chintzina fell in love and decided to get married. Uncle Samuel was stingy and not willing to spend much on wedding. Let's just be three of us, he said to his sister. But Chintzina put her paw down and declared, I want a real wedding reception and will invite all Stintons and Stingy Snouts. Uncle Samuel thought he will get bankrupt and fainted again. The wedding was beautiful and the food at reception was finger-licking good. The next day, Geronimo, Thea, Trap, and Benjamin bid goodbye to everyone and left for New Mouse City. By now, Stiltons and Stingy Snouts had become good friends.
Thank you for watching our video. Please like and subscribe. Also press on the bell notification button for more videos like these. Until next time, take care and bye.